Olivia, my office. Now. My boss, Marcus Webb, stood in my cubicle doorway at 4:47 p.m. on a Thursday. His expression was tight, controlled. The kind of face that meant trouble. I followed him to his corner office. He closed the door, pulled the blinds. Set a document on his desk between us. I need you to sign this compliance report. Today. Picked it up. Q3 Safety Compliance Review. My name listed as the reviewing analyst. Except I hadn't reviewed anything. Hadn't seen this document before this moment. I scanned the pages. Equipment inspection dates that were wrong. Safety violations marked as resolved when I knew they hadn't been. Training completion percentages that didn't match our actual records. Marcus, these numbers are incorrect. The machinery inspection on line 3 hasn't happened yet. It's scheduled for next week. The inspection will happen. We're just documenting it early to meet the regulatory deadline. But that's not how compliance works. We can't certify inspections that haven't occurred. His expression hardened. Olivia, this report needs to be filed by 5 p.m. today. The deadline is non-negotiable. Sign it. My hands felt cold. I can't sign a false compliance report. Marcus leaned forward. Let me be very clear. If this report isn't filed on time, the company faces significant penalties. And if that happens because you refuse to do your job, there will be serious consequences. For you. I stared at him. For years I'd worked here. 4 years of meticulous documentation, of following every protocol. You have 1 hour to sign, he said, sliding a pen across the desk. I suggest you think carefully about your decision. I sat at my desk, the unsigned report in front of me, feeling my heart race. Sign it and I was complicit in fraud. Don't sign it and Marcus would likely fire me, maybe even claim I was the one who'd failed to complete the inspections on time. I pulled up the actual safety logs on my computer. Checked every item Marcus's report claimed was complete. Line 3 machinery inspection. Scheduled for November 15th. Today was November 8th. Employee safety training for warehouse staff. 67% completion. The report claimed 94%. Emergency exit compliance check. Failed on October 23 due to blocked access. Still unresolved. The report marked it as passing. Every single item was falsified. If regulators audited us based on this report and found discrepancies, the company could face massive fines. But more importantly, workers could get hurt because we'd certified safety measures that didn't exist. Check the clock. 4:58 p.m. 52 minutes until Marcus's deadline. My computer dinged. Email from Marcus. Clock's ticking, Olivia. Make the smart choice. I thought about my mortgage. My student loans. The job market in compliance. Small, tight-knit. Marcus blackballed me. But I also thought about what would happen if someone got injured because I'd signed off on safety measures that didn't exist. Picked up the pen. My hand shook as I signed my name. Each letter felt like a betrayal of everything I'd built my career on. Marcus appeared at my desk 30 seconds later, like he'd been watching. Took the report without a word. Smile. Good decision, Olivia. I knew you'd be reasonable. After he left, I felt sick. Literally nauseated. I just committed fraud. Put my professional license at risk. Endangered workers. I pulled up the report one more time before Marcus filed it. Studied every detail. Then I noticed something. The document metadata showed it had been created 3 weeks ago. Long before Marcus claimed we were rushing to meet a deadline. He'd been planning this. The urgent deadline was manufactured pressure to force my compliance. I screenshot the metadata. Saved it to my personal cloud drive. Then I drafted an email to HR. I have concerns about a compliance report I was asked to sign. Several items certified as complete have not yet occurred. Request urgent review. Hit send. Waited. 5 p.m. came and went. No response from HR. 5:30 p.m. Nothing. 6 p.m. Still nothing. 6:15 my email bounced back. Message could not be delivered. Recipient mailbox full. I checked the HR directory. Found an alternative email. Tried again. This time it went through. But I never got a response. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the falsified report, my signature on a document I knew was fraudulent. Friday morning I arrived early. Started documenting everything I could remember about Marcus's coercion. I created a timeline. 4:47 p.m. Marcus demanded I sign. 4:52 p.m. I identified falsifications. 4:55 p.m. He threatened serious consequences. 5:30 p.m. I signed under duress. I saved every email Marcus had sent me about the report. Screenshot our instant message conversations. Downloaded the original safety logs showing what was actually completed versus what the report claimed. By 9 a.m. I had a comprehensive evidence folder. Encrypted. Backed up to 3 separate locations. Then I did something risky. I waited until Marcus left for a meeting, walked into his office and checked his desk drawer. Found it. A printed copy of the compliance report. My signature at the bottom. But there were handwritten notes in the margins. Marcus's handwriting. File with State Regulatory Board by November 9th. Ensure no internal copies retained. He was planning to submit the false report to state regulators. And he wanted to make sure there was no paper trail showing the truth. I took a photo of the document with my phone. Left everything exactly as I'd found it. Back at my desk, I realized the full scope of what Marcus was doing. This wasn't just internal documentation. This was state regulatory fraud. I needed advice from someone I could trust. Someone who understood the regulatory environment but wouldn't immediately alert Marcus. I called my former colleague Naomi, who'd left the company 6 months ago to work at a consulting firm. We met for coffee after work. "Olivia, this is serious," she said after I explained the situation. "If state regulators find out you signed a false compliance report, your professional certification could be revoked, even if you were coerced." "I know. That's why I'm documenting everything. The coercion, the threats, the timeline." "Good. But be careful. Marcus has access to all company systems. Email, computer files, network activity. If he suspects you're building a case against him, he can track everything you're doing." Felt cold. I've been using my work computer for everything. "Have you used personal devices for any of this?" Naomi asked. I backed up evidence to my personal cloud. Do all of it on personal devices from now on. Assume every keystroke on company systems is monitored. "There's something else," I said. The report was created 3 weeks before the supposed deadline. This was planned. Naomi's eyes widened. "That shows premeditation. That's worse for him legally. But it also means he's been thinking about this for a while. He's probably prepared for pushback. What should I do?" "Document everything. But don't confront him directly. Don't send any more emails to HR from company systems. And Olivia, assume he's watching. Every move you make at work, assume he's aware of it." Monday morning, I accessed the company's compliance database using my legitimate credentials. Pulled up historical safety reports going back 2 years. Looked for patterns. Found them immediately. March 2023. Safety inspection report filed by Marcus. Equipment checks certified complete 1 week before they actually occurred. August 2023. Training compliance report. Inflated completion percentages by approximately 20%. January 2024. Emergency preparedness review. Multiple violations marked as resolved when internal emails showed they remained outstanding. Marcus had been doing this for at least 2 years. And every time he'd gotten someone else to sign the reports. Different analysts. Different departments. I was just his latest scapegoat. I started compiling a master document showing the pattern. Downloaded supporting evidence from the company database. Then my computer screen flickered. A system notification. Unusual file access detected. IT security has been notified. My stomach dropped. Someone was monitoring my activity. I closed everything immediately. Cleared my browser history. Tried to look like I was just doing routine work. 10 minutes later, Marcus appeared at my desk. "Olivia, got a minute?" Not a question. Command. The team meeting was scheduled for 10 a.m. Marcus called it that morning. Didn't say what it was about. I walked in to find 6 colleagues, Marcus and his boss, the VP of Operations, Vincent Hayes. "We're doing a compliance review ahead of the state inspection next month," Marcus announced. "Olivia, can you walk us through the Q3 safety report you filed?" Every eye turned to me. I'd prepared for this. Knew Marcus might try to put me on the spot publicly. "Of course," I said calmly. "The Q3 report certified completion of all required safety inspections and training protocols for the quarter ending September 30th. And you personally verified each item before signing?" Marcus asked, his tone casual but his eyes sharp. "I verified the documentation provided to me at the time of signing. So you're confident everything in that report is accurate?" This was a trap. If I said yes, I was doubling down on the fraud. If I said no, I was admitting I'd signed a false document. "The report reflected the information available when I signed it on November 8th, I said carefully. "However, if there are specific items you'd like me to re-verify, I'm happy to pull the current safety logs and compare them to the filed report." Marcus's jaw tightened slightly. "That won't be necessary. I'm sure everything is in order." Vincent, the VP, spoke up. "Actually, given the state inspection coming up, it might be good to do a spot check. Make sure our documentation aligns perfectly." Marcus's face went pale for just a moment. "Of course. Good idea. Olivia, can you prepare a comparison audit by end of week?" "Absolutely." As the meeting ended, Marcus pulled me aside. "That was smart. But remember, if regulators find discrepancies, we'll need to explain why. And right now, your signature is on that report." He was reminding me that I was implicated. That if this fell apart, I'd go down with him. But he just made a critical mistake. He'd implied in front of the VP that there might be discrepancies. Over the next 3 days, I worked methodically. Created a comparison between the filed report and actual safety records. Every discrepancy I documented. With evidence. Line 3 machinery inspection. Report claimed completed October 28th. Actual completion date. November 12th, after the report was filed. Warehouse safety training. Report claimed 94% completion. Actual completion on November 8th. 67%. Emergency exit compliance. Report marked as passing. Actual status. 3 violations still outstanding as of today. I assembled everything into a comprehensive analysis. Then I did something clever. Created 2 versions. Version 1. The official comparison I'd give to Marcus and Vincent. Factual, but carefully worded to avoid directly accusing anyone of fraud. Version 2. The complete analysis with all evidence of falsification, including the metadata showing the report was created weeks before the supposed deadline, and proof that Marcus had coerced me into signing. I kept version 2 encrypted on my personal devices. Then I noticed something in the document metadata that I'd missed before. The compliance report showed it had been edited on November 9th at 11:42 p.m. One day after I'd signed it. The edit history showed Marcus had changed 3 separate data points. He'd altered the report after I signed it, which meant my signature certified one version, but he'd filed a different version with regulators. I screenshot the edit history. This was evidence that went beyond coercion into outright document tampering. The stress was crushing me. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, kept imagining regulatory investigators showing up, my professional license being revoked, my career destroyed. I'd built everything on integrity, and now I'd signed a fraudulent document. Tuesday morning I seriously considered just quitting, walking away, letting Marcus deal with his own mess. But if I quit now, I'd have no leverage. No way to prove I'd been coerced. Marcus would paint me as a disgruntled employee making false accusations. That afternoon, I received an anonymous email to my personal account. Subject: "You're not the first." Message: "Marcus has done this before. Multiple times. Someone finally reported him to state regulators last month. They're investigating. Be careful." No signature. No identifying information. I tried to reply. Email bounced back. Sender account didn't exist. Someone was helping me. Someone who knew what Marcus was doing and wanted me to know that regulators were already involved. Which meant I had a choice. I could wait for the investigation to find me, or I could proactively provide evidence before Marcus could set me up as his scapegoat. I called the State Regulatory Compliance Hotline. Asked hypothetically what someone should do if they'd been coerced into signing a false report. The answer was clear. Report it immediately with all supporting evidence. But the timing had to be perfect. Too early and Marcus would destroy evidence. Too late and I'd look complicit. I created a secure digital vault. Encrypted with military-grade security. Stored on a cloud service that couldn't be accessed from company systems. Loaded everything. Timeline of coercion. Original safety logs showing actual completion dates. Metadata proving the report was created before the deadline. Edit history showing Marcus altered the document after I signed. Pattern analysis of his previous falsified reports. Screenshots of his threatening messages. Anonymous tip about regulatory investigation. Then I created detailed backups. 3 separate locations. One with my attorney. One in a secure deposit box. One with Naomi, who'd agreed to act as my witness if needed. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. "Need to see you." My office. Immediately. I saved everything I was working on. Locked my computer. Walked to his office with my phone in my pocket, recording app running. He closed the door. Smiled in a way that didn't reach his eyes. "Olivia, I wanted to thank you for your cooperation with the compliance report. Shows real team spirit." "Of course. I also wanted to give you a heads up. Vincent and I have been discussing departmental restructuring. Your position might be affected." There it was. The threat made explicit. "I see. When would this restructuring happen?" "Soon. Unless of course we can demonstrate that compliance is running smoothly. Which means we need everyone on the same page. No surprises. No one questioning processes that have worked for years." Kept my voice steady. "I understand." Good. Because surprises can be problematic. For everyone involved. As I turned to leave, I noticed something under his desk. Small LED light blinking. Recording device. He'd been recording our conversations. Building his own evidence. The next meeting was worse. Marcus called me in again Friday afternoon. Private. Just the 2 of us. "I heard you've been accessing historical compliance files," he said. "Anything specific you're looking for?" "Just doing the comparison analysis you requested." "For the VP." "Right. The comparison. How's that going?" "It's complete. I can send you the draft if you'd like to review before I submit it." "I would. In fact, I insist on reviewing everything before it goes to Vincent." "Standard procedure." "Of course." His smile was predatory. "You know, Olivia, I've been thinking. This regulatory investigation some people are worried about. It's routine. Happens all the time. But if anyone were to say something that complicated the process, made the company look bad, that person would be seen as disloyal. And disloyalty has consequences. I would never do anything to harm the company." "No, I don't think you would. You're too smart for that. You understand how this works. You signed that report. Your name is on it. Your professional license is on the line. If problems emerge, we're in this together." That's when I saw it. The recording device under the conference table. Red light blinking. He was recording this conversation. Making sure he had evidence that I'd claimed the report was accurate, that I understood the stakes. But what he didn't know was that I was recording too. And unlike him, I was documenting his threats, his coercion, his admission that we were in this together, which implied he knew the report was problematic. I understand, I said carefully. Everything I've done has been by the book. Exactly. And let's keep it that way. I contacted a lawyer that weekend, Patricia Alvarez, who specialized in employment law and regulatory compliance. Showed her everything. Timeline. Evidence. The recordings. She reviewed it methodically. Finally looked up. You have a strong case for coercion. But there's a problem. You did sign the report. Even under duress, regulators might argue you had a professional obligation to refuse or report it immediately. I tried to report it to HR. The email bounced. That helps. But the delay between signing and reporting to external authorities could be used against you. Marcus will argue you're only coming forward now because you're worried about getting caught, not because you actually objected to the fraud. So what should I do? Document everything meticulously. But don't go to regulators yet. Wait until they come to you. They're already investigating according to your anonymous tip. When they do come, you'll have all this evidence ready. You won't be the whistleblower. You'll be the coerced employee cooperating with an existing investigation. What if they don't come? What if the investigation doesn't reach me? Then we proactively report. But strategically. With all evidence organized to show the coercion, the pattern, the document tampering. We make it impossible for them to see you as complicit rather than victimized. How long do I wait? Not long. Regulatory investigations move faster than people think. If someone reported Marcus last month, they're likely already gathering evidence. I'd say you have 2 weeks, maybe 3, before this comes to a head. Marcus's next instruction came Monday morning. Email marked urgent. Olivia, need you to certify the November safety inspection log. Same format as Q3 report. Due Friday. I read it carefully. He was asking me to do it again. To sign another falsified report. This time I was ready. I replied. Happy to prepare the report. To ensure accuracy, I'll need to personally verify completion of all items before certifying. Can we schedule site inspections for Tuesday and Wednesday? His response came fast. That won't be necessary. Just use the documentation we have on file. I'd feel more comfortable doing spot checks given the upcoming regulatory review. Best practice to have first-hand verification. Silence for 2 hours. Then, let's discuss this in person. I walked to his office with my phone recording. Olivia, I'm concerned you're overthinking this. We have standard procedures. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I understand. But given the state inspection coming up, I want to make sure everything I certify is absolutely accurate. Personal verification seems prudent. His jaw tightened. Are you questioning the integrity of our existing documentation? Not at all. I'm just ensuring my professional standards are met before I sign anything. Your professional standards weren't a concern for Q3. Q3 was filed under tight deadlines. This time we have more flexibility to be thorough. He stared at me. I just created a subtle inconsistency in his narrative. If deadlines force corners to be cut on Q3, why was he resisting thorough verification now when we had time? Fine, he said finally. Do your spot checks. But I expect the report filed by Friday regardless of what you find. Perfect. He just admitted on recording that the report had to be filed regardless of actual compliance status. Wednesday morning, Vincent called an unexpected compliance review. Marcus, myself, and 2 other analysts. No warning. Walk me through your current safety status, Vincent said to Marcus. The state inspection is in 3 weeks. I want to know we're airtight. Marcus pulled up the Q3 report. Everything's in order. Olivia certified all inspections complete for last quarter. I'd prepared for this moment. Vincent, if I may, I said. I've been conducting the comparison audit you requested. There are some minor timeline discrepancies I wanted to flag. Marcus's eyes went sharp with warning. What kind of discrepancies? Vincent asked. The Q3 report certified the Line 3 machinery inspection as complete on October 28. However, our maintenance logs show the actual inspection occurred November 12, after the report was filed. Vincent frowned. How is that possible? It's a documentation timing issue, Marcus jumped in. The inspection was scheduled for October 28. The report certified the scheduled date. The actual inspection happened slightly later due to equipment availability. But the report didn't say scheduled, I said carefully. It said completed. There's a difference for regulatory purposes. Vincent looked between us. Is this the only discrepancy? There are a few others. Nothing that impacts overall safety, but the documentation timing needs to be corrected before the state review. How many others? 7 items with similar timing issues. Marcus looked visibly rattled but recovered quickly. 7 out of 43 items. We're talking about a 16% documentation variance, not a systemic problem. But I'd planted the seed. Vincent now knew there were discrepancies. And more importantly, Marcus had just admitted in front of the VP that there were problems with the report I'd been coerced into signing. That afternoon I got an automated alert from our IT security system. My file access was being monitored more closely than standard protocol. Someone had flagged my account for unusual activity patterns. I checked my recent file access log. Everything I'd done was legitimate, compliance files I needed for my job. But someone was building a case that I was accessing files inappropriately. Marcus was trying to paint me as the problem. The rogue employee accessing files she shouldn't see, questioning established processes, creating issues where none existed. I documented the IT alert, screenshot the monitoring notification, added it to my evidence file. Then I noticed something else. My work calendar had been accessed by Marcus's administrative assistant 3 times in the past week. They were tracking my schedule, knowing when I'd be in the office, when I'd be away. They were planning something. Friday afternoon Marcus sent me a meeting invite. Monday 9 a.m. Subject: performance review. I'd had my annual review 2 months ago. There was no reason for another one. Unless this was it. The termination meeting. The moment Marcus would eliminate the witness to his fraud. I forwarded the meeting invite to Patricia, my lawyer. Her response: don't attend without representation. I'll be there. The letter arrived Monday morning. Formal. Certified mail. State Office of Regulatory Compliance. Dear Ms. Torres, as part of our ongoing review of workplace safety compliance at Meridian Manufacturing, we request your participation in a formal inquiry. Please contact our office within 48 hours to schedule an interview. They'd found me. The investigation had reached me. Called Patricia immediately. The regulators want an interview. That's good. Means they're taking this seriously. But we need to be strategic. Marcus will likely be interviewed too. Coordinate your testimony carefully. What should I do about the performance review meeting? That's Marcus trying to establish cause for termination before you can cooperate with regulators. We'll attend. Document everything. If he tries to fire you, we'll have evidence of retaliation. An hour later, Marcus appeared at my desk. Face tight with barely controlled panic. I assume you got the letter from state compliance. I did. What are you planning to tell them? The truth. That I signed a compliance report based on documentation provided to me. And that's all I plan to say unless they ask specific questions. His eyes narrowed. Olivia, I strongly suggest you think carefully about what the truth means. If you say anything that makes the company look bad, that could be considered disloyalty. Grounds for termination. Are you threatening to fire me for cooperating with a regulatory investigation? I'm reminding you of your obligations to this company. I understand my obligations perfectly. He walked away. But I'd gotten it on recording. A direct threat to fire me for regulatory cooperation. Retaliation. Clear as day. I spent the weekend organizing everything into a comprehensive timeline. Chronological. Each piece of evidence cross-referenced. November 8, 4:47 p.m. Marcus demands I sign falsified report. November 8, 4:55 p.m. Marcus threatens serious consequences. November 8, 5:30 p.m. I sign under duress. November 9, 11:42 p.m. Marcus edits the report after my signature. November 12th. I send HR complaint. Email bounces. November 13th. I discover pattern of previous falsifications. I continued through every interaction, every threat, every piece of evidence showing coercion and subsequent retaliation. Created exhibits. Organized by theme. Exhibit A. Evidence of coercion. Exhibit B. Document tampering. Exhibit C. Pattern of previous fraud. Exhibit D. Retaliation attempts. Then I prepared my testimony. Not defensive. Not accusatory. Just factual. I was instructed to sign a compliance report on November 8th. Upon review, I identified multiple discrepancies between the report and actual safety records. I expressed concerns to my supervisor. I was told the report must be filed immediately and that there would be serious consequences if I refused. I signed under duress. I attempted to report my concerns to HR but received no response. Clear. Simple. True. I practiced until I could deliver it without emotion. Just facts. Tuesday morning I did something risky. I called the state regulatory office from my personal phone. I received your letter requesting an interview. I'd like to schedule that interview and also provide supplemental documentation that may be relevant to your investigation. What kind of documentation? Evidence that the Q3 compliance report I signed contains falsified data. Evidence of coercion. Evidence of a pattern of similar conduct. Silence on the other end. Then, can you come in today? 2 p.m. Yes. I called Patricia. They want to see me today. I'm providing all the evidence. Good. I'm coming with you. Don't go alone. At 1:45 p.m., I told Marcus I had a personal appointment and left the office. Met Patricia at the regulatory building. The investigator, Thomas Brennan, greeted us in a small conference room. I handed him a USB drive. This contains all evidence related to the falsified Q3 compliance report. Timeline of coercion. Document metadata showing tampering. Pattern analysis of previous reports. Recordings of threatening conversations. He plugged it in. Started reviewing. His expression grew more serious with each file. Ms. Torres, this is comprehensive. I'm a compliance analyst. Documentation is what I do. Why didn't you report this immediately after signing? I tried. HR email bounced. I was threatened with termination if I made the company look bad. I was gathering evidence to protect myself in case I was accused of willing participation. And you're providing this now because? Because your investigation gives me protection from retaliation. And because falsifying safety reports puts workers at risk. That's more important than my job. The next morning, the office buzzed with tension. Whispers in hallways. Closed-door meetings. People glancing at me and quickly looking away. Someone knew something. At 10 a.m., Marcus was called into Vincent's office. Didn't come out for 2 hours. At noon, Vincent sent a company-wide email. Due to an ongoing regulatory inquiry, all staff are instructed to preserve all documents related to safety compliance and to not delete any files or emails until further notice. The investigation had gone public internally. By 2 p.m. HR called me in. Patricia joined on speakerphone. Olivia, we've been made aware of your cooperation with state regulators. We want to assure you that the company supports full transparency with any regulatory investigation. That's good to hear. We've also received a complaint from Marcus Webb alleging that you've been making false accusations against him and accessing confidential files inappropriately. That's not accurate. I accessed files within my job responsibilities, and I provided factual evidence to regulators, not accusations. Nevertheless, we think it would be best if you took paid administrative leave while this matter is resolved. Is this retaliation for cooperating with regulators? Long pause. Absolutely not. This is standard protocol during investigations. Then I'd like it in writing that this leave is not disciplinary and will not impact my employment status. Another pause. We can do that. They were protecting themselves. Getting me out of the office before the investigation intensified. That night I broke down. The stress, the fear, the weight of potentially destroying my career to do the right thing. It all hit me at once. I sat in my apartment crying, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. My phone rang. Patricia. I just heard from the regulators. They interviewed Marcus today. He denied everything. Claimed you falsified the evidence. Said you've been unstable and trying to damage him because he gave you a negative performance review. That review never happened. It was scheduled, but I left before it could occur. I know. And they know. Because the regulator asked him for documentation of this negative review. He couldn't produce it because it doesn't exist. I felt a flicker of something. Not quite hope, but something. What happens next? The regulator is scheduling interviews with other employees. People who signed previous reports. They're building a pattern case. And Olivia, they told me your evidence is the most comprehensive documentation they've ever received in a compliance fraud case. What does that mean? It means you did everything right. The recordings, the metadata, the timeline. It's all admissible. It's all credible. Marcus is finished. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. The interview is Thursday. Marcus will be there. They're going to confront him with your evidence directly. You need to be prepared for him to attack you. To claim you're lying, that you doctored evidence, that you're motivated by revenge. I have metadata proving I didn't doctor anything. Witnesses who can verify the timeline. His own recorded voice making threats. I know. But prepare yourself emotionally. This is going to be brutal. Thursday morning I dressed carefully. Professional. Every detail deliberate. Patricia met me outside the regulatory office. Remember, facts only. No emotion. Let the evidence speak. The conference room was larger this time. Thomas Brennan, the investigator. His supervisor, Director Sarah Mackenzie. Court reporter. Patricia. Me. And Marcus. With his attorney. I sat across from him. Made eye contact. Didn't flinch. Let's begin, Director Mackenzie said. Ms. Torres, Mr. Webb, thank you for coming. We're here to resolve discrepancies regarding the Q3 Safety Compliance Report filed on November 9th. Marcus's attorney spoke first. My client maintains that the report was accurate based on information available at the time. Any subsequent discrepancies are due to documentation errors, not intentional falsification. I see, Mackenzie said. Ms. Torres, let's start with you. When did you first sign this report? November 8th at approximately 5:30 p.m. And when was it filed with our office? According to the filing timestamp, November 9th at 9:47 a.m. Did you personally file it? No. Marcus filed it. Mackenzie pulled up a document on her laptop. Turned the screen so everyone could see. It was the metadata from the report. According to this, the document was edited on November 9th at 11:42 p.m. After it was filed. Who made those edits? Marcus went pale. The edit history shows that Marcus Webb's user account modified the document 12 hours after it was submitted to regulators, Mackenzie continued. Can you explain that, Mr. Webb? Marcus's attorney jumped in. Those were minor formatting corrections. Let's see. Mackenzie pulled up the edit comparison. Line 3 machinery inspection date was changed from scheduled October 28th to completed October 28th. Training completion percentage was changed from 89% to 94%. Emergency exit status was changed from pending resolution to compliant. These aren't formatting corrections. These are substantive changes to compliance data. Those changes reflect updated information that came in after the initial filing, Marcus said. But you didn't file an amended report. You altered the original. After Ms. Torres signed it. After you submitted it to our office. We were still gathering final confirmations. Mackenzie looked at me. Ms. Torres, when you signed this report on November 8th, what did it say about the Line 3 machinery inspection? It said completed October 28th, which I knew was false because the inspection was scheduled for November 12th. And you signed it anyway. Under duress. Marcus told me there would be serious consequences if I refused. I have a recording of that conversation. Marcus's face went white. That's a lie. I never threatened you. Let's listen, Mackenzie said. Pulled out my phone. Played the recording from November 8th. Marcus's voice, clear and unmistakable. If this report isn't filed on time, the company faces significant penalties. And if that happens because you refuse to do your job, there will be serious consequences. For you. The room went silent. Mackenzie let the recording play through. Marcus's threats. His dismissal of my concerns. His explicit statement that the report had to be filed regardless of accuracy. When it ended, Marcus's attorney tried to salvage something. That's taken out of context. My client was simply emphasizing the importance of meeting regulatory deadlines. By threatening an employee with consequences if she refused to sign a report she knew was false. Mackenzie raised an eyebrow. We dispute that the report was false. The evidence disputes your dispute. Mackenzie pulled up another document. We've interviewed 3 other analysts who worked under Mr. Webb over the past 2 years. Each of them describes similar coercion to sign reports with discrepancies. Each of them has provided documentation. I watched Marcus's confident facade crack. His attorney whispered urgently in his ear. Furthermore, Mackenzie continued, we've audited the actual safety records against the filed reports for the past 24 months. We found systematic inflation of completion rates, falsification of inspection dates, and misrepresentation of violation statuses. The pattern is undeniable. This is speculation, Marcus's attorney protested. No, this is evidence. Ms. Torres provided us with detailed metadata showing that Mr. Webb created compliance reports weeks before the supposed deadlines, then pressured analysts to sign them under false pretenses. She provided edit histories showing he altered documents after they were signed. She provided recordings of explicit threats. And she provided a pattern analysis that we've now independently verified. Marcus slumped in his chair. His attorney looked defeated. Mr. Webb, do you have anything to say in your defense? He looked at me. Not with anger. With desperation. Olivia, you have to understand. The company needed those numbers. The board was watching. If we showed any compliance gaps, they would have shut down entire production lines. People would have lost jobs. So you falsified safety reports, I said quietly. And put workers at risk. No one got hurt. That's not the point. The point is you certified equipment as safe when it wasn't. You lied to regulators. And you threatened me when I tried to do my job with integrity. He had no response to that. Mackenzie closed her folder. Based on the evidence, we're invalidating all compliance reports filed by Mr. Webb over the past 2 years. Meridian Manufacturing will be required to conduct complete re-inspections of all equipment and facilities. Marcus's face went gray. Additionally, we're referring this matter to the State Attorney General for potential criminal prosecution for regulatory fraud and document tampering. His attorney began to speak, but Mackenzie cut him off. Mr. Webb, you're being placed on our professional misconduct registry. You will not be permitted to work in any compliance-related capacity in this state. He turned to me. Ms. Torres, your cooperation has been invaluable. The evidence you provided likely prevented serious safety incidents. The company will be required to reinstate you with full back pay for any leave taken during this investigation. After the meeting ended, Marcus approached me in the hallway. His attorney tried to stop him, but he shook him off. Olivia, please. Can we talk? Maybe we can work something out. I'll tell the company it was all a misunderstanding. I'll make sure you get promoted. Please, don't let this destroy my career. I looked at him. This man who'd threatened me. Who'd endangered workers. Who'd been doing this for years. No, Marcus. I won't help you cover this up. You made your choices. Now you live with the consequences. 5. 3 weeks later, I walked into a boardroom for a very different kind of meeting. Vincent Hayes, the VP, stood at the head of the table. Olivia, thank you for joining us. I wanted to personally apologize for how you were treated during this situation. We should have supported you immediately when you raised concerns. Thank you. We're implementing new compliance protocols company-wide. Independent verification, multiple sign-offs, external audits, and we'd like you to lead the implementation. He slid a folder across the table. Inside was a promotion letter. Director of Compliance and Ethics. Significant raise. Direct reporting to the board. We need people with integrity in leadership positions. You proved you'll stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult. I thought about the past month. The stress. The fear. The nights I couldn't sleep, wondering if I'd destroyed my career. But I'd done the right thing. And in the end, truth had prevailed. I accept, I said. Marcus was fired. His professional license was revoked. Criminal charges were pending. 3 other managers who'd been part of his system were placed on probation. The company paid $2.3 million in fines and implemented comprehensive reforms. And I walked out of that boardroom with my head high, knowing I'd protected workers, exposed fraud, and proved that integrity matters more than convenience. Sometimes doing the right thing costs you everything. But sometimes if you're prepared and strategic, doing the right thing gives you everything back and more. I smiled as I left the building, the new title on my business cards, the evidence folder still on my phone. Because the real victory wasn't the promotion or the vindication. It was knowing that when the moment came to choose between my career and my principles, I chose principles. And that choice made all the difference.